Welcome to episode 34 of the Pitbox Podcast. We are live today from Brooklyn.
Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at?
Sorry.
Brooklyn. Anyways, recently I made a trip to England. Now, you may be thinking, England, what was he doing in England? I, myself, was getting some driver training in. And you might think, driver training? What do you mean by that exactly? Well, as you guys know, me and Jordan being Jordan Wallace, are a part of Izone Performance. Izone Performance is just a full in-house training program for race car drivers. So for us in the States, you may not necessarily think about that as being a real thing, but you can think about it in the sense of if you're playing basketball or you're playing baseball, you go to somebody to work on the fundamentals and continue to build your skill. You know, you're working with a shooting coach. He's going to tell you tuck your elbow in, follow through, flick the wrist, make sure you lined up to the rim, etc. If you're playing baseball, you got a hitting coach. Your hitting coach is talking to you about seeing the ball hit the bat, you know, making sure you're working your hips appropriately and all of those other things. But it's the same thing for racing. So we would do things such as mindfulness, because obviously as a athlete and aspiring professional athlete, and actually regardless of what you do in life, it's kind of hard to progress and be who you need to be when mentally you're not in the right place. So part of the emphasis on the training is making sure that mentally you're able to get yourself in the right pocket so that you can perform. Also, you have the physical aspect of it. So there was a gym on site. We're able to work out. It looks like a standard gym, but there were a few extra tools, such as like a reaction machine, like you guys might have seen. You'll have the different spots on the wall, and you see the driver reaching to press the spots as fast as they can. There was one of those. And then also you had a few different weights to work on your neck muscles as well, too, that you might not really find in a regular gym. Of course, there was yoga, and then you get to the main thing, which is the driving. So there's a few different sims that are set up within the facility. You have one sim that can be used for both Formula cars and GT cars. It almost kind of looks like an Ariel Atom shell or tub in a sense. That's like the closest I can give you visually. And of course, like, you know, you look up Ariel Atom, you'll see what I mean. Then besides that, we also have a GT car sim. So it's just, think about a race car, like a touring car, with the back end cut off. There's a four-door with the back end cut off and then the front cut off, and you're sitting inside the actual car. Big room, massive projector to make it seem like you're actually there. And then we had a Formula car sim where it's literally like an F3 tub. And again, room, massive projector. And then with the brake pedal, there were actual brakes attached to the sim, so that when you hit the brake, you're replicating the real force of pushing the pedal down. It's like you're literally moving the fluid through the pedal and closing the pads to the rotor, which is a pretty wild experience. But yeah, great at the same time. I mean, I primarily was preparing for F4, which, well, it wouldn't be next year, but in a few years. But I'm hoping to do Skip Barber Formula School next year. So I figured, why not get acclimated? So yeah, I spent most of my time on the Formula car sim. It was fun training for a week as a race car driver. And for me, it was like a stamp of not validation, but a stamp of intent. I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm for real. Let's get to it. And yeah, and then later in the week I went to Goodwood. We'll talk about that too. Just know it was sensational. Alright. I know you guys wanted to know more about what went down, how it went down, what it was like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got the squad today. It's Christian, Gartrell, and Seb. And of course we got our boy Steve. The main topic today is finding out how was experiencing actual driver training. So I guess the first question that I had in mind was, when you went to do the physical training, Steve, what exactly did they tell you? What type of exercises did they suggest that'll help you hone your skills as a driver, aside from the reaction wall that you had mentioned?
So, we pretty much did traditional exercises. So you can do push-ups, sit-ups, because you really want to focus on your core. And then if you were driving something, just hypothetically like an Indy car or something else that doesn't have power steering, of course, you might want to work on your upper body somewhat as well, just so that you're able to handle the stresses from a full race perspective. And then of course the neck. So you can work your neck with resistance bands, just doing simple tension exercises. Some people had like a head harness, and you were able to attach the harness to the pull weights. So then as you're moving your head, like you're sliding the weights as if you was pulling the string on, it's not, not the band, but on the weights in the gym. And they also had one where you could put a helmet on and then you could twist using the weights. In the same sense, the string is pulling the weights. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I were to piggyback off of Chris's question, is there anything you learned from like the workout aspect of it that you think should translate into your life today while you hit the track at OVRP, or like any other racing disciplines that you see yourself in?
So I'm thinking more so about the neck exercises, because the core and upper body stuff I pretty much have a grasp on, because you do it for other sports, but you don't necessarily work on your neck in other sports. So it's like that. The neck stuff I think would help with karting, but of course, the funny thing is with karting is like, once you're in shape per se, you don't necessarily have to go above and beyond to build your neck up.
Right.
I think it would be different if it was next year I'm doing F4 USA or something similar, where you want to pull more G-forces in the cart. I think the cart will pull like 2-3 Gs thereabout, and like after a lot of laps you do start to feel it, absolutely, but it's nothing that like just driving can't get you acclimated to per se.
And what was your favorite thing? Like your favorite thing that they taught you to utilize?
I would say definitely the braking, because when you're driving a Formula car, like the pedal is super stiff. It's like stepping on a brick in a way. Like, there's so much pressure you have to apply just to get it to stop. And then the pedal, there's no real travel to the pedal anyways. You're only moving it but so much, which feels weird at first, because if you're used to a street car, the street car pedal is soft. And then you kind of almost think about it in terms of how much further do I push the pedal per se to stop, like you come to the stop sign, at least for me. Whereas like in a Formula car, you're trying to stop in the least amount of distance possible, but then also like I realized I'm not a late breaker, so someone could potentially brake later than me, but for me I can't control the platform of the car as well if I'm braking that little bit later. And then within that, trying to get comfortable with not just the force you need and the lack of pedal travel, but then the feel of it, because you got a threshold brake, but you really got a threshold brake in the sense that you got to stomp on it and you immediately have to bleed off, because if you don't, you're going to lock the wheels up. And then also, like, as you downshift, the engine braking is helping slow the car down, and then the wings on the car is helping to slow the car down as well. And and then when it comes to like the type of corner, if it's a slow, like let's say it's a second gear corner, it's a complete different like brake profile, I'll just use to say, than like a high speed corner where maybe you just need to trim off a little bit of speed. So you wouldn't like slam on the brakes in like a real short span of time. You would expand the braking zone a little bit to help again control the platform of the car. Whereas, you know, if, like I said, you come into a slow corner, you got to stomp on it. You really got threshold brake. Make sure you don't lock, and then keep a little bit of trail braking in, just so you can actually get the car to turn. Because otherwise, you know, you're just gonna blow the corner. But the margin of I've overslowed and I've nailed it and I've gone too fast is real tricky to get a feel of, because you're talking about like real minute differences. So you might be applying the brake correctly, but you might be coming out the pedal too early, or maybe you're initially hitting the brakes too early, which then can blow the whole corner.
The whole corner, right?
Yeah, because once you get the car slowed down and you do your turn in, that's most of the work done right there. Like now you're just guiding the car out the corner. All the money is in the braking. So like developing that feel is definitely like the best part.
And what would you say is the exercise, teaching, or experience that you take away and apply to driving now? So like meaning like what are you gonna take away from this training, and that's gonna affect your game in the short term as opposed to the long term when you get to
so the first thing would be vision, because what you know where you look is where you go. But
Right.
working on, all right, I see where the apex is, but now I need to look up to the next spot, you know, kind of like the corner exit, or further down the street. But then you're using your peripheral vision, because you don't necessarily need a precise spot for like corner exit, but you kind of have to have a feel for where the car is, so you don't just drive off the track. The vision would be the most important thing, and the other things like getting up to speed quickly, because track time is limited. You don't want to just be out here burning laps, cruising around for nothing. You're not getting that time back, you know. So things like that, getting up to speed quickly, vision points.
Would you say that now, like currently, you didn't have maybe the same perspective on vision that you have after this training, or like did you notice yourself like not looking further down the road, or you know like not using your peripheral vision in certain situations, or is that just kind of like something that you took away from? And
so it definitely got better after like my peripheral vision, and then kind of understanding like when you look at the apex, what part of the apex you're looking at, because depending on the profile of the corner, you don't use a geometric apex almost ever. So, you know, it's understanding like, okay, like I need to look a little bit further because I need to hit a little bit later, and then it'll come together. Because, you know, once you get comfortable, especially like with F4 car, it's almost like this is where to me is similar to the kart, whereas when you drive it correctly, it makes sense. If you don't drive it, I know that sounds so vague, but like when you don't drive it correctly, it starts fighting you, and then you're making your job harder, and you're going to be slower, and you're going to be uncomfortable. But then it was like, okay, take a better line, do this, do that, and it's like, oh, this ain't that bad.
And almost like the car rewards you when you run a smoother line with braking inputs than if you were to upset the chassis. It's kind of obvious that it's like, this is not the smoothest, quickest way to go through the corner. Is that what you mean?
It partially, yes. Yeah. When it comes to the braking specifically, yeah. There's other aspects of it too that you have to pull together, but yeah. When it comes to the braking, yes.
Gotcha. And I guess just to briefly circle back on the actual braking itself, if we had to relate it to the people at home, I would probably be willing to say go in whichever car you have now currently mash your foot on the brake all the way till there's no more travel, and then move your foot off the pedal, probably like 10 millimeters, and then push the foot back on the pedal, and that's probably how much travel you have in Steve's scenarios. That would you say that would be a close representation for the people to be able to understand how it's like to break a Formula 4 car?
Yeah, it's like when you get in, because like it's a real Formula car, you got your feet above your
torso.
Yeah, you're reclined, so your feet are higher than they would be if you're just sitting in a regular car, and then you're pushing on the pedal, and you're like, damn, how much pressure is that? A quarter? I gotta stop on this. Because like you want to make sure you're comfortable, but you can get enough leverage on the pedal too. So it's like if you were to compare it to like a street car, you almost can't compare it how soft a street car is. Like how soft the pedal is on a street car. Because like even in your street car, like there's a booster. There's a brake booster to make it easy for you to push the pedal. You ain't got none of that in the race car. It's just you. It's just your left foot. So yeah, it would be like I said. It's kind of like stepping on a brick. The brick just moves a little bit, just a little bit, just enough. But you'd be surprised. Like after you get enough laps and you start to get comfortable. It's like, oh, okay,
makes
I can do
sense.
this. Yeah,
You get acclimated real quick.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, I had to take my shoes off to get
The feel for it, right?
Nah, my foot was dragging against the top of the tub with my shoe on. So I had to take my shoes off, and it almost caught a cramp in my foot on one of the first sessions.
Oh, wow.
Because I pushed with the wrong part of my foot. It was like, ah! And then
The coach was like, nah, don't do it like that.
Let me show you. Yeah, it almost drove off the track. I was like, oh, God. Hold on. I gotta get together for a second. Hold up. Let me wiggle my toes.
Wait, so let's jump into that though, right? Like, so you're sitting in this tub, and a lot of us are trying to just imagine what room you're in, you know? Like, I mean, like, we're all your friends, so like we've seen the photos, we've seen you like send us like Instagram shots or like texts or whatever of like, yo, this is what I'm doing today, and we're just like, what?
Right.
So for like people that aren't exactly seeing what we're picturing right now, from what I understand, it's like this big dark room where like there's the general like tub, the cockpit of a Formula 4 car, and it's facing this like massive screen. Now, was there like something projected on the screen? Were these like big monitors? Like you talk about peripheral vision when you're driving, and it's like how much of that really helps you in this sense? Because it's like how big of a screen are you looking at? How much do you have to lend to your peripheral vision to help you drive? You know, because we're at home driving on like, you know, like on a sim rig or something. We got like a 30-inch monitor or something. Yeah. This isn't your home style 30-inch monitor.
Nah, not at all. So it's a projector. All right, so
just one, just like coming from the ceiling.
One projector shooting on a massive screen. It make for a good movie. Night room because like it's a pretty,
it's like IMAX.
Yeah, it's a fairly big screen. But also with the view that you use when you're driving, the only thing you see is the wheels because you're in the car.
Right.
So there's no need for like if you're at home, you would have the cockpit view, so you see the front of the car and the wheels. Like you're in the cockpit.
You don't need that.
You don't need that. So you just see the wheels. So now that helps with how you're placed in the car.
Right.
Because if they did the cockpit while you're in the cockpit, you wouldn't you wouldn't be able to see.
Your perception would be a little thrown off.
What you're doing. You're like, where's the track at? It's over. What? Yeah, you just missed every apex. But yeah, so like because I can see the wheels, it comes together. And also because like the force feedback is so good on the wheel, I can feel I'm driving with a curb. Right. Like this. Yeah,
Okay.
you feel it, so you don't have to focus as hard. At least for me, I don't have to focus as hard as when I'm at home, where I have, well, at this point, it might as well be a controller compared to the stuff I was using, where like the force feedback isn't as pronounced and as accurate.
Or realistic.
Yeah, it isn't as realistic, and then my pedal, even with like the load cell, which is supposed to make it stiff, is soft. You know?
Were you in there alone? Like, did you have someone, like, was there an engineer with you?
Yeah,
Like,
being coach. So
the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, were you wearing a helmet too? And like,
No.
Okay, so you're just yelling at you.
He's sitting right next to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, I'm in the car and he's sitting in the stool and he's saying, "Okay, you did that. Cool. You need to do this. I need you to do this." And he has a pointer, like he's aiming at the screen, telling me, "You need to look here. You need to look here." And then, yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
Were there any bad habits that he had to help you break during this whole process?
Yeah, definitely. Inputs was too sharp because, like, especially like the high speed corners, if you turn in too sharp, you're just going to lose the whole car.
Oh, wow. So to just be more gradual with your turn-ins and things like that?
Yeah, and you started to realize you didn't need that much steering.
Yeah.
You got so much grip from the wings and the slicks.
And the downforce,
it was
yeah.
like, okay. You know, like, there's no need to, you know, just jerk the steering wheel. You're going to go for a spin.
Do you find it... Did you like pick up that type of habit from karting, or was that like from your own sim experience, or?
I've been working on dialing that out of karting, like, you know, since I've started, and I'm significantly better. But you know, this is like a whole new experience, and it's like I don't know what I can and can't get away with. So as I'm just, you know, just getting up to speed, it's like, oh, turned in too sharp. Oh, you thought you was gonna save that?
Yo, I'm gonna just say it now, just so I can put some respect on him. But Vince has been saying this shit to you for a while, bro. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Yeah, I know, and like I gradually have calmed down, but like the sharp inputs was coming from a speed thing, because it was coming so fast that it was like, oh shit, yeah,
right,
you know.
right.
But then it's like,
You actually have
I got
more
this
control.
now. Yeah,
It goes back to the vision thing. Like,
Yeah,
they're telling you need to look over here instead of over
yeah,
here. You should
yeah,
turn
exactly.
it too sharp. Oh, this makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
it comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, but then again, like once I was like, oh, I don't even have to turn the wheel that much. It was like, okay, this is fine. Then what else did I kind of have to break? Downshifting was a little interesting because I was sometimes with downshift in the wrong spot, at the wrong corner, you're going for a spin. It's over. So like,
it just messes up the balance.
yeah, completely upset the platform, and you can't even save it. It was like, what corner?
Interesting.
Brands Hatch, first corner, which is paddock.
Okay.
You got to come in.
That's a right-hander right on the top of the hill.
It's right here. Yeah. Top of the hill, it swoops down to the right and then back up the hill. If you downshift, like if I downshifted too late, because the way the track is where it falls away.
Off camber?
Yeah, it's off camber. There was just no chance you were saving it. Or if you did, you just botched the whole lap anyways. So like, so like the downshift would slow the car down, which then would upset the balance, which then would just put you into a spin. And the same thing would happen at Silverstone. I can't think of the name of the corner right now. Not Magus, Beckett, Chapel, Brooklands. Stowe. You turn into Stowe, downshift at the wrong point. You should have downshifted before, like, you was in the corner and just go for it. You got the rodeo. You can't even do anything. You just gotta hit the brakes and wait for it to stop.
Here we go.
Yeah. So like that was happening, and then it was like, of course, because I've never used anything like this before, done anything like this. It was like figuring out where the edge of the track is, so I could use the whole track. That was tricky at first. And you get comfortable, you're like, all right, like we can do that. Yeah, it was like the main things I had to break, which I've definitely broken.
So where would you say the mindfulness comes into play into this whole equation, aside from trying to, I guess, silence the background noise? Would you say mindfulness comes into play like in that scenario that you just mentioned? I guess elaborate a little bit more on what someone at home needs to do as far as mental exercises to kind of put yourself in the best position possible to have that focus, and have that track awareness too, as to where you are on the track, you know, and yeah.
Yeah, so think about it in the sense that you need to be prepared to perform when you get in the car. How do you get prepared to perform? It's a little bit different than like football or basketball where you kind of want to be hype. You don't want to be hype. You want to be serene. Like there's a certain level of serene though. You can be too serene and then you're just not in the zone. There's a certain level of like anxiety good anxiety that you need to have so that you could be locked in and focused on achieving what you need to achieve. And then also you think about pressure.
Right.
You may only have one lap in qualifying to get that lap. What you gonna do? You may be getting chased down by your teammate.
Yeah.
You may be doing the chasing. And there's all these situations where you could over or under drive, which, as they like to say, overdriving is lazy driving. Or if you're under driving, you're just leaving time on the table. So mentally, you need to be in the right spot to make sure that you're getting the most out of yourself in the car, so that you're not just out here doing whatever. Because again, it's like you only get so many opportunities.
Makes sense.
And no one's just going to hand you anything on the platter. So you gotta come prepared, you know. And then if you think about it, like how do you improve upon that? You can do meditation, breathing exercises, all these things to help. You know, when you have like a performance meter, as we like to say, where you might have to remind yourself why you're here. You might do something to hype yourself up, or do something to calm yourself down. So make sure you're in that right pocket.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And how was competition?
Oh, like everybody there, that's what they do. Like they're racers. Like they ain't gotta go to work. I'm like the only one there who had to go to work. Like
really?
Yeah. Everybody there from who I met. Not saying there aren't people who have to go to work that are part of it.
I was gonna be one of those people.
Yeah, it's like it's like everybody that I encountered is racing. They are like, this weekend, I am racing at Brands Hatch. I am doing this. I am racing touring cars. I'm racing karts. I'm racing Formula cars, Formula Ford, F4. Like, I am doing this. And, you know, I'm like, I got to go to work in 2 weeks. So
I'm flying back home to go to work.
Like,
clock in.
I got to clock in. So, like, this is what they do. So, of course, the competition is high. Because as you would imagine, you have access to this level of training on a frequent basis. You're going to be good unless you're just that bad. You're going to be good. It's hard to beat somebody that does this every day, and you got to go sit at a computer for 10 hours a day.
And did you stack up kind of where you thought you would amongst the competition there, or did you maybe fare better or worse, or and how did you compete before and after your coaching, and did you see any improvement in your rankings or standings afterwards?
So going into it, I couldn't really gauge what to expect because I didn't know who was going to be there, what experience levels they are, and sports is weird in the sense that you have to and can't compare yourself to other people. You have to compare yourself to other people as you're racing against them.
Right.
You can't compare yourself because I'm on a whole different journey and a whole different part of life than they are. Like, they're like 20 years old. And there's Americans there, like, they literally moved to the UK to pursue racing.
Wow.
I'm 27. I got off the couch a few years ago and was like, all right, I think I can do this, so let's do this. You know,
right.
Like, and again, like, they're racing. They're not talking about, I gotta go to work. They're like, nah, I'm getting this training in. I'm one of them getting this work in. What you doing? You know? And so, like, from that perspective, it was like, well, yeah, like, I've never done this before, so I'm not expecting to sit here and blow the doors off these dudes. These dudes can drive. It was funny, like, we have, like, what they call Pressure Day, which is just, we're all just pitted against each other in a sense where it's, I think about it like qualifying.
Right, basically.
You get different setups, different track car setups. You get 2 laps, run your best time, ain't no redos, like you mess up, oh well, like, you know, see what it is. So like one of them actually was fairly competitive. And I was like, oh, okay. But ironically it's the one I had the most practice in. The ones I didn't have any practice in, I didn't know where I was going. So it's like, that's kind of a wash, like whatever.
I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah. But the one actually I practiced in was fairly competitive. Like, I was completely satisfied with how it was. I made a mistake, and it still wasn't, like, you know,
end of the world.
Yeah, he sent me to the moon. So it was like, okay, like, this is cool. But, you know, like I said, it's kind of hard to It doesn't even make sense to compare, but even though you got to compare. Yeah.
You said something earlier, I don't know if I heard you correctly, but you said overdriving is lazy driving?
Yes.
Yeah, that caught me too.
Can you explain that? Yeah, because Chris and I are confused.
Yeah, because if you're overdriving, you're going slower. And think how easy it is to do that. That's why you gotta be locked in mentally. You're just say you're getting chased down by somebody. You're in the lead. It could be a teammate. It don't even matter who's behind you. They're closing the gap to you. You know they're closing the gap to you. Mentally, you probably want to be like, I gotta drive faster because he's catching me. Now you start overdriving. You start making mistakes. What's he going to do? He's going to catch you even faster than what he was doing before that. And that's such a lazy mindset. Like, no, stay locked in. Okay, he's catching you. If he's going to catch you, he's going to catch you. Deal with it when he gets there. But you need to continue to drive appropriately.
You need to be locked in.
Yeah, you have to hit your marks. You know what you can do. Do it.
Don't drive in your mirrors, basically.
In a sense, you gotta be aware of what's going on, but you can't get caught up on like, oh, he's catching me. Yeah, like
in front of you, so.
For now, just keep driving. You know, and it's because like I said, it's so easy to just be like, I'm gonna drive faster. I'm gonna try harder, because you're trying harder, you're making more mistakes. That's a lazy thing to do. There's no need to do that.
So it would almost be lazy in the sense because you're taking away from where you would actually be focusing on if there wasn't somebody on your tail and your mind is choosing to prioritize that over where you should be positioning yourself, where you should start braking, where you should be accelerating. That's why it would be considered lazy, I guess, is because you're not focusing on what you should be focusing on to be the fastest.
Would you be trying that hard if they weren't there?
Right.
Probably not.
It seems like the easy option. Like, I'm being chewed up. Let me try and do everything I can to get ahead of it or stay ahead of this person.
Even though you already are.
Right, exactly. You're switching it up for what?
Yeah, I understand now. Before, without breaking it down, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, how can I be lazy and go fast? But wait,
but you're not going
let
me
break it down, though. I'm not actually going fast.
No.
Right.
Yeah, and then you got to think in terms of strategy, now you're messing your tires up.
Yeah.
Maybe you were supposed to have a certain fuel metric, how much gas you need to save per lap. That's out the window. You know what I mean? Like, everything's all thrown off.
And you just threw all the things you should be focusing on out the window just because you got distracted.
Hit your marks.
Right.
Yep.
Is that a term you picked up there? Lazy, like.
Yeah, that's something I got from them. But we had learned that a few months ago, maybe even last year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna switch it up. You did all of this like next level sim work. I think you did this backwards, but we won't get into that. But you sat yourself in an F4 tub. You did some GT racing in a sim as well. You basically had an IMAX theater in front of you that you can drive a car in. Like the immersion is probably insane.
Yep.
And so after this whole new insane experience that sounded incredible, you went to a Formula One arcade in London?
I did. So
how do we stack those experiences?
You don't. Let's put it that way. You don't. I seen that for an arcade on Instagram. I was like, I gotta try that since
I'm here.
I'll be in London. Yeah. Like, why not? Let's see what it is. But it's like a bar with Sims at the bar. So like,
don't drink and drive, kids.
Yeah, don't drink and drive. But you know, as an adult, it's probably entertaining to see that.
Oh yeah, that's why they did that.
Yeah, I think it's like after 6, you gotta be 18 and up to be in there.
Okay.
But I was in there earlier in the day, so like the kids are having a party. They're having a great time, honestly. But it's like compared to what I was doing, this is child's play. You know, this is like, I can't even turn the assist off. What is this?
He said, "That's what are these assists?"
Yeah,
you have here?
Like the brake pedal went from a brick to a sponge.
Yeah, it's like you're stopping the car for me. What? This is crazy. Good spot if you want to go on a date or have a kids party, but you know you can't quite compare the experience.
Way more conventional, I guess, in comparison to where you were at before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess, is there anything else that you would want to mention to anybody who's pursuing this passion? Would you suggest doing this training? If so, Would you suggest them to do it more often? Obviously, there's a monetary aspect too, so maybe you want to shed a little bit of light for the people at home if they wanted to do something similar, right? How much would it cost for them to do something like this?
You're easily spending over $1,000 per week to do something like this.
What is that, a whole weekend or like just 3 days? Like
No, 5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
over well over 1,000. It just flexes depending on how much sim time you're doing.
Gotcha. And that's just for the training alone, right? That's not including, where you're staying, if you're traveling from another country.
Yep, just the training.
Right. Okay.
So the next question is, what's the next step?
The next step is next year to do Skip Barber, the Formula Car School. They have like the 3-day school, and then you gotta take the 2-day school, and you can get like then after that you get your SCCA license, and then that allows you to participate in their race series with Formula cars. Or you got the money, you just go that far, or whatever, or the IndyCar ladder, whichever one you want to do. But for next year, definitely doing the Formula Car School with Skip Barber is next up. Unless there's some sponsor out there that potentially would want to do something, or
Please email Stephen Williamson
Yeah.
Emails in the
email
description.
is down below,
Right.
just in case.
Slide in, please.
Yep. Or one of my grandparents hit the lotto, so we can do a bit more. But yeah, it's rapidly approaching the point of unable to bootstrap this. It's like after next year, kind of can't bootstrap it. Just too much money.
Okay.
Well, you wrapped up your trip with a visit to Goodwood, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's be real. This has ruined all car events for me.
Great. Caffeine and carbs?
Destroyed me, man.
Jesus.
I'm walking around caffeine and carbs like, this is cool, but
It's just another Sunday, folks.
where's the 250 GTO and all this good stuff? Now, Goodwood is incredible. So, it was Revival, not Festival of Speed. So, for those who don't know, Goodwood Revival is a retro baller car event where they are racing nothing but cars from like the 1960s and earlier, and everybody's dressed like it's the 1960s and earlier. And it happens in the south of England. It's a track. The track is actually called Goodwood. I think it's like Lord March or someone like that owns the facility. Yeah, it's sensational. You need to go. Even if you don't even like cars to that extent, you don't have to be me. You'll like this. This is good. This is real good.
Something for everybody, huh?
Yeah, because you'd at least enjoy the dressing up part of it.
Right.
So
Yeah, you had a fit.
oh yeah,
You sent the fit pic. That was solid.
Right.
It's suited and booted.
If we could insert, we will.
So when you get there, you get to like the fancy part of the parking lot. You get all the bowler stuff, the 356 Spiders, GT40s, E-types, D-types, Cobras, like all the stuff that people brought to Goodwood. Like, these are just spectators. You're like, oh man, but they got inside.
Right.
So then you walk through the gates. All the vendors are set up with old school, like the itinerary is
More vintage.
is retro. So like all the clothing that they're selling is retro. The artifacts is all old school stuff. All the cars on display are all old. Yeah, and then you get to the racing, and these dudes are racing cars that cost as much as probably some people's neighborhoods.
Emphasis on neighborhoods.
Yeah, I didn't say your house. I said
Right.
the car cost your neighborhood.
I said your neighbor's house, their neighbor's house.
Right, combine them.
You could buy the block.
Right.
With some of the stuff they had there. So I'm talking like 250 LM Ferraris, 250 GTO. The bread van was there. D-types, Jags, E-type Jags. A whole bunch of G-body 911s, which is like the first body style 911, and they're all like FIA approved. So they got the cages and everything. They're like 300, 350 a piece for those. Then you had the old school Formula cars. They had a tribute to Carroll Shelby. So they had like the actual Le Mans winning GT40 there.
Wow.
They had Cobra Daytona, a bunch of other Cobras. They had either the, what car did they have that he raced? It might have been the Aston that he raced. It was either the Aston or did he drive Maserati too? I want to say Aston. Before he started working with Ford, he was a racer himself, so he was racing for one of the European brands. I want to say it was Aston. I could be wrong. It might have been Maserati, or it could have been multiple. I just can't remember right now. So like these aren't replicas. These are like the real deal.
Right.
Like I said, you can buy a block with with
one of the cars he's driving,
man. And then to see them race these, like real wheel-to-wheel racing, like sliding the whole track, just going for it.
Oh,
like these are Miatas.
Maximum attack kind of stuff?
Different. That's a different type of wealth right there.
Yeah.
Owning the 250 LM is elite. You racing the 250 LM? Oh, God.
And then you're doing wheel-to-wheel?
Like, you don't even
Come
care?
on, man.
Come on. And then, like, all the drivers, it's all, like, legitimate drivers. So, like, ex-Le Mans winners, ex-F1 drivers, Jimmy Johnson. Like, these are all, this is the caliber.
Jimmy Johnson was over there?
Yeah. This is the caliber of driver you need to be able to participate as a driver in this event. Even like Chris Harris has done it in years past, but Chris Harris ain't your average journalist.
Right.
Speaking of driving cars that probably cost my whole neighborhood, did anyone just so happen to like bin it?
Yeah, multiple cars.
Oh, damn! Bankruptcy sounds nice.
Yo, they were so like
It's a small dent in the account,
Yeah.
I called my accountant and told him that our plan that we had anticipated, it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. So
Yeah.
Well, like, how do we write this off?
yeah, exactly. There you go.
I don't even understand.
Help me out,
how
Seb.
I don't even know how
it.
you fix this stuff. It was like one guy, he spun the 250 LM, he scraped the wall. He was in first, went for a spin, scraped the wall, and then got back into first. I'm pretty sure he won the race, but there was like a noticeable brush on the back bumper of the car. I don't even know, like, do you just send it back to Ferrari? Like, I don't know how you actually repair something of that value. I don't even know I want to know how to repair something of that value. The 250 GTO that Karoom Handchuck was driving, pretty sure it caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know they had barbecue at Goodwood.
What else? People blow gearboxes. People get caught in the sand trap. Like, they're racing,
Right,
man.
like they're
this
legitimately
is,
pushing.
They're driving like these. This is Spec Miata. This is not Spec Miata.
When the rich people play together, it's all the same shit. So.
Different gravy.
Yeah, they approach it with the same ideology as
Yeah.
Spec Miata, except on a way larger scale.
I guess realistically, if you have like that rare of a car, how many other people got it, right?
Maybe
Hopefully.
that's their second one.
Definitely.
Hopefully, I mean, you're probably friends with like the other person. It's like, oh, like the 4B survived the 60s.
High fiving. You're high fiving in the pits.
I got the other one. Want to be friends?
Right.
We can do that. Jackie Stewart was out there. I saw him up close. He was driving his Terrell from back in the days. He is small, and he does walk like an old man, but that is a goat. Yeah, it was a great day. Definitely will be going back. I need a 2-day ticket next time, though.
It's a multi-day affair?
Oh, yeah. You got to get all that, man. Got to get all that. Formula cars, GT cars, like everything. Need all of it.
So all in all, this trip affirms, reinsures, and as you mentioned initially, gives you that extra stamp of intention to propel you to that next level.
We here.
We are. Now this is the pitboxpod. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, listen, just roll the the reel with the cast and stuff.
But yeah, it was a good trip. Definitely will be back in England at some point. I can't say when. just need to work on the logistics and save some more money. And yeah, like, you know, and hopefully next time I can go so I don't have to drive the whole time. And then I can like really indulge in the countryside and stuff. It's a pretty
quick
country.
side topic. Yeah, so you rented a car.
Yeah, I did.
Because I know we shared photos of our car rentals. Like, I was in Spain and I had rented a Peugeot, and you'd rented
A Vauxhall.
A Vauxhall. Except my car was on the right side of the road.
Yeah, I was on the wrong side.
How was that?
Yeah, it was weird. You would think like driving stick on the wrong side of the car is the challenging part. That was an afterthought. The freaking roundabouts almost ended your boy on like the second day. I was like, is it my time to go? It was the only time I heard horns the whole week.
That's
I was there.
hilarious.
When they laid on the horn. Beep! Oh, my bad.
And it sounded like a clown car horn, huh?
Yeah, I was like, it was multiple people.
Oh, wow. This man was over there causing a scene.
Freaking international terrorists. Like, I'm sorry, man.
You went from sitting in a sim in an F4 tub, racing an F4 car, to having a line of cars behind you
Causing
at a
mayhem.
roundabout beeping. Why isn't this man going?
Right, exactly.
Causing mayhem. And then it was like the lanes are so tight in the towns that, and if you go to Europe, and especially like the UK, since we're about the UK, you'll see like their trucks are narrower than ours even, since their lanes are so narrow. And you drive down these country roads, it's like a lane and a half. In America, it'd be one lane, but somehow over there it's two, and you're like, nah, there's no way there's someone coming all the way. Oh, I'm kind of in the hedge. And you hear like
You brush up the trees on the side of the grass.
you hear the mirror scrape like a bush, and you're like, oh,
Lost your deposit.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's it for that. And you're like, nah, there's no way. Is that a truck? Oh no. How do you want to fit here? And then it's like, yo, this is like really weird how tight this lane is. So the tightness of the lanes and the roundabouts, which eventually you get used to, it starts to make sense, are more challenging than the car being stick and being on the other side of the road. That was a non-factor. It was just like, all right, cool, you come across the gate with the other hand. A roundabout though, that one, y'all been on the news. They've been like,
Americans stuck at roundabout for 3 days. He's not sure when he can go.
American causes mayhem in small British town.
Yeah. The roundabout strategy is you throw yourself and hope the next guy saw you.
I had to watch a YouTube video.
Oh,
on
man.
how
We had to get the
around.
roundabout tutorial, folks.
I'm getting this man a roundabout for dummies book for Christmas.
I was like, yo.
How do you really do this?
It's like, yo, let me just watch a YouTube video before I end up on the news. And they label me as like a terrorist or something like that. And then, all right, now it makes sense because I was like, I see the signals. I see the signs on the ground. We can do this. we can do this, you know. And then just being a little bit more aware. You're in a circle, okay. And then for the tight roads, it's like how you position the car. Just being on the other side of the car, on the other side of the road. Just make sure you don't hit a bush.
Apparently, you got a lot of bushes out there. I didn't know.
There are a lot of bushes.
That or he just was gravitated towards all the bushes.
There's a lot of hedges, man. A lot of hedges. You'd be surprised.
Oh man, this man was the hedge trimmer.
Yo. But yeah, it's a real pretty country to like drive through and stuff. But I was like, I need someone else to drive, man. I don't want to do this no more. Like, I just want to take in like the sights and stuff. But no, I gotta get around.
And on a completely unrelated topic, just because I know everybody that goes out to the UK that are not from the UK, they always mention this, but how was the food? How was the culinary?
It was fine. So I was prepared for blandness. That's what everybody told me. And like I was eating like Nando's, which is a chicken spot.
It's like a UK KFC basically.
Sort
like
of.
Popeyes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But it's a better quality.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's better quality.
They don't have the USDA over there, you know?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that on the podcast. But, you know.
They got real chicken.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's what they feed y'all? I did have KFC over there. KFC tastes better to me than over here.
It's the real chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I had Five Guys over there. It wasn't that greasy compared to what we get here. We went to this Japanese place. It was fine. Like it wasn't was it extraordinary? No, but like did it get the job done? Yeah, it was fine. I went to this place. There's a part of London. It's a market called Seven Dials, which is basically like 7 streets that meet at a fountain in the middle. I had like some Japanese food over there. I liked it. It was good. And yeah, like, you know, for breakfast, I just ate at the hotel. Like, I just had pancakes, fake eggs. It's the same fake eggs we have over here. And like a sausage.
Just that carton egg.
Yeah.
I was ready to hear like bangers and mash or something.
Oh,
like a proper like, or is that UK?
Like
Please don't
a
kill me.
local meal.
Yeah.
Like I was over there eating freaking all the stuff that he knows, just to play it on the safe side. Like Nando's was as far as he was willing to experiment.
Cause it was like, I had Mexican food that was like pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had no taste for it.
Yeah,
Damn.
the UK's not known for their Mexicans. I'll say that much.
Yeah, you know, but
It's a little bit of a far trip for them.
yeah, you know,
You think?
yep,
Some water.
yeah, but it wasn't too bad. Their gas station food is way better because they had like actual supermarket food at the
Or
gas
like a
station.
Bussies type of thing where it's like,
You lost me.
Wawa 2.0.
son, you've never been to Bussies.
Nah,
You've never driven down south before?
I have never heard of it.
I can't even lie, Seb. You caught me with that one too.
Damn. Nah, not just me.
I thought I was gonna say Wawa, but that was about the extent of it.
I'd equate it to
Wawa
Wawa,
is-
but like I'd also get vilified for this. It's way better than that. I don't even know how to explain. It's like a Walmart Home Goods, like your favorite, like, I don't know, fast food joint had a baby. Oh, and a gas station.
And a gas station.
Okay.
That's a Bussies. Yeah.
God.
All right.
It makes no sense, but down south it makes all the sense apparently. So
Yeah,
I'll give it.
sounds like it.
Sorry, so you're saying gas
Yeah,
station food?
because like one of the supermarket chains is M&S, and like they sell food at the gas station, so you get like a pretty cheap lunch. You get like a ham and cheese sandwich, a drink, and a snack, which would be like 2 mini donut things, for like the equivalent of $6.50, $7 here. So it was I would get that for lunch. I did eat at like the Silverstone Museum one day, and yeah, just had a muffin over there. It was pretty good. The museum was cool. We right at the track. I mean, Izone is right at Silverstone. Literally, like you cross you don't even have to cross the street. Like you come outside and then you can see the grandstands to Silverstone right there, and then you go across the street and Aston Martin's right there. You walk around like the area and there's like vintage Ferrari specialists. You got mad cars outside, old Porsche specialists. Someone had a Ford GT, like 2017 Ford GT over there. Cosworth is there, and they built the Hennessy Venoms there. Hennessy Venom F5 actually. And Ducati UK is there too. Like, yeah. Silverstone is
Talk
cool.
about inspiration. Damn.
Yep. So like I said, I see the Aston Martin factory across the street. Got to drive by that to get back to the hotel. Stop by Mercedes real quick, see if I could spot the GOAT. But you know, he on the road.
He was worth a shot.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, overall it's a good trip. The UK will be seeing me again, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Learned a lot.
Next trip, Japan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're all gonna need sugar mamas for that.
Yeah. Insert the Fast and Furious song. There you go.
Teriyaki boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully, you'll have some guests on for the remaining shows for the rest of the year. Got some guys you think you'll like, and enjoy your day.
Stay focused and drive fast.
Peace.
Peace.